Welcome. This is the Quickstart webinar. We do this webinar every single Thursday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. This webinar is really just designed to educate and to practice. It's to stay sharp, right? When Chris Naugle and Stephen Nagy asked me to host a webinar about private money, and we're going to call it the Quickstart, I said, okay, great. What do you want to learn about? What do you want to talk about? And, Stephen just said, hey, just educate people about private money lending. Let the world know what it is. And that's what we do every single Thursday. We stay sharp. We sharpen our axe. We go through the best practices, fundamentals of private money lending, and we do our absolute best to keep people safe, borrowers and lenders, right? Keep people safe, borrowers and lenders. Herbert says, I'm working. I'm just listening. Don't worry, Herbert. We're not going to call on you. We know. I know you're doing your homework. I know you're doing everything, and you're just tuning in to do exactly what we just talked about. You're here to stay sharp, right? Repetition, and my favorite thing in the world. I love real estate and everything, but my favorite thing in the world to do is I have a son who's 10 years old, and I love coaching his hockey team. That is my absolute favorite thing to do in the world right now. If I could do that full time, I absolutely would. I feel like I am doing it full time. What am I talking about? But with when it comes to sports or business or private money lending, the most important thing of all is fundamentals. It's the fundamentals. So tonight at the hockey rink, we're going to practice passing and skating and shooting. It's the fundamentals. We do the same, a lot of the same drills, get warmed up, right? Create familiarity, create good habits. In business, in private money lending, we do the same exact thing. So on this webinar, we practice every single week at Thursdays at 1, the documents that we want to help secure our loans and to protect our assets, right? We talk about elevator pitches, what to say, how to get people excited to talk about you. So there's lots of different, or talk with you about private money lending. There's lots of different fundamentals from a sales perspective, from a private money lending perspective, from a business perspective, from a real estate investor's perspective, that we talk about every single webinar at 1 o'clock. So what's up, everybody? Welcome. Abby says, I'm still digesting all the goodies from the Money Tank. Yeah, got a little Money Tank hangover. Money Tank is our flagship event that we do a few times a year. We just had that in Charlotte, North Carolina at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and it was awesome. So what's up, Jose? Jose was there. Jose is my right-hand man. Anything that I say, that I might say something like, hey, Jose, can you put the link in the chat box? Can you help this person out? They've got a question. Can you help them get enrolled into this class or to this program? Jose's there to help. Jose Harkin is with the PMC team. All right, so let's get into it. Every single session that we teach, I'm real big on this. I could spend 3 days just talking about all the things that could go wrong with private money lending. And let me say that again. I know, lots of times I'm like pumping people up. I'm like, yeah, you can do it. You can do it. We got this. You got this. Herbert was like, man, I feel like, you're like Coach Prime of real estate for me, Noah. Thank you so much for getting me going. Well, that's true. Like, I love that part of the business. I love that part of being a coach. But part of being a coach is also to keep you safe and keep you educated and be able to spot the red flags and all this stuff, right? So private money lending is risky. If you don't have the money to lose, don't lend it. Now, how do we eliminate some of that risk? Well, it's never completely eliminated, but we buy right. We interview the borrowers. There's documents that we use. There's good questions to ask that give us confidence in the decisions that we're making. So we try to cover as much of those as we can on this call. But it's really only skimming the surface. So please, before you go out and just start lending money willy-nilly on deals or borrowing people's money willy-nilly, get a good game plan together. Step up your education, get some mentorship, get some coaching. I'm telling you, I'm a little fired up today. We're talking about how risky this business is, and we haven't even really gotten into anything yet. Because before hopping on the call, I got an email from someone that was like, hey, I lent money and it's been 120 days past due. Interest checks stopped coming in. Obviously this person is, I imagine, pretty pissed off. And, I'm like, hey, did you get this? Did you get this? Did you get this? And he's like, well, I got these documents. I feel pretty good about what he's shown me, that he probably has, some legal action and things like that he can take. But gosh, it's and looking at the plan, and I don't want to get too involved in it, but yeah, this business is risky, but this person was planning on building all these houses and in multiple rounds. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, like, is this like when initially when I hear that, I'm like, is this person, this investor out kicking their coverage? Is this real estate investor taking on a project that their shoes can't fill? Do they have experience in doing this? Right? I don't know the answers to those questions, but based off of what happened, I'm gonna probably say no, they don't. So remember, if you're a lender, look, I love private money. Where else can a person make a double-digit rate of return, have it secured by real estate, and be able to pick and choose the projects that they want to lend on? That's fantastic. Where else can a borrower get all the money that they need to buy, fix up, and sell a piece of real estate without having to go to a bank? There's an ultimate win-win scenario here, but gosh, if we don't know what we're doing or what to look for, we can get ourselves in trouble. So it's okay to talk about these things. That's why we have the webinar. That's why we do this, right? To get the education, to surround yourself with people that know what's going on, right? And they can help you get better at being a lender and being the best borrower that you can be. All right, so welcome to the Quickstart webinar. My name is Noah Harris. I'm a real estate investor out of Columbia, South Carolina. Lots of times in case studies, I use a company called Revive Homes LLC. I'll mention that company. That's my flipping company. That's my fix and flip company. We've been established a little over 10 years here in Columbia, South Carolina. We have a 100% track record with our lenders, and my wife and I invest in places like Virginia, Florida, North Carolina, but 99% of our business is 30 minutes from our house. I like to be able to get in the car. I like to be able to inspect what we expect, and that's definitely something that we brag about with our lenders. And the 100% track record is a goal that I have for every single person that's on this call right now. Hey, Christine, how you doing? Good to see you. Whether you're experienced or new, you're in the right place. Like, let's work on building a 100% track record with our lenders and with our borrowers. That's what it's all about. I hope that the next Money Tank event that we go to, someone comes up to me and says, hey, you know, I took your accelerator course a few years back. You know, we've done X number of deals. What I really care about is the 100% track record, paying back my lenders. That's what it's all about. All right, 100% track record. That's our goal. This is relationship based. And one of the things I've been telling my accelerator students is, hey, it's all about the connections that you make. It's all about building those relationships. And, you know, we live in a day and age where it's you know, messaging and text messaging. Pick up the phone, have a conversation, do a Zoom call face to face if you're cross country. Like, this is a relationship based business. So yes, there are things that the banks do that make real estate investors' lives difficult. Like, lots of times a traditional bank isn't going to lend on a house that has boarded up windows or needs major foundation repairs, or where it needs, you know, smells like cat pee and has a leaky roof, right? They don't want to lend on those types of projects, but private money lenders do. But there's no private money lending brick and mortar, right? I can't go up to the street corner and, like, I walk in the bank and walk into but I can now with the private money club, right? The private money club. So this is a different type of community, and we're going to talk about that and how to take advantage of that. This is a fishing pond where everyone's biting. Everyone's looking to either borrow or lend, and people understand what private money lending is, which is super cool. So what's up, everybody? Welcome. If you're just tuning in for the first time, Quick Start webinar here. A few things I'm going to cover here to make sure that everything stays on track. Here's the game plan. So we do this every single week. Thursday at 1, we start on time. We keep it real estate. I know in Private Money Club, there's all these cool different ways to put a person's money to work, whether it's like forklifts or semi-trucks, different types of businesses. I met someone a few months ago I had known for a little while, and she's like, I'm investing in mangoes. And I was like, what? How'd you learn about that? On this webinar here, we keep it real estate, right? So I only talk about things that I know and understand and do in my business. The financing part is what I do in my wife and I's fix and flip, buy and hold real estate investing business, right? So keep it real estate. If you have any questions at all, I'm going to ask that you ask the questions in the Q&A section. So in the Zoom, you just hit Q&A and post your question there. I'll answer questions every 30 minutes. So like halfway through, this is an hour webinar. So at 1:30, I'll stop, answer questions, and then I'll answer them again right around 1:55 before we log off the call. If you have any questions for like the group, or maybe it's a question for Jose or one of the team members or someone in the chat box, feel free to use the chat. But the chat just goes nuts, and sometimes I don't see your questions, right? So we don't want anybody getting upset and thinking I didn't answer your question. It's just I can't see if it's in the chat sometimes. All right. We've got Jose Harkin in the house. Jose, go ahead and say hi. So it's nice and fresh there. Jose is a PMC team member. We've got a lot of awesome classes, courses, memberships, and different things to talk about that are available, and Jose can assist you with enrolling in any of those things. Private Money Club platform. Who's logged into the new Private Money Club platform is like, this is awesome. This is beautiful. This is clean. Chris Stokes, have you been in there yet? It's beautiful, right? They just revamped it. It's still a work in progress. They're adding different features every single day, but the transition has been made. And like Ryan says, it looks great. It looks awesome. It looks great. So hello from Florida. What's up, everybody? All right, cool. So all experience levels are welcome. So I know some people on this call are brand new. I love it if you're brand new. I know some people on the call are experienced. I see your names here, right? So same amount of love for the person that's just trying to figure it out and doesn't want to have to search too hard for the answers, and the same amount of love to the people that are experienced and they're like, you know what? If it wasn't for surrounding myself in rooms like this and with people like this, I wouldn't be where I am today. You can always learn something. So kudos to everybody that's on this call here. Welcome. So when we talk about private money lending, let's talk about this because it seems like we've got 122 people on the webinar right now, and a lot of your names are new. So I'm curious, like when you think of private money lenders, what comes to mind? What do you think of? When you type it in the chat box, when you think of private money, what comes to mind? Chris said a loan shark. I love it. Chris is like the penguin. Like my wife and I are watching the Penguin right now on HBO. Like is the penguin Oz? Is Oz gonna show up? You know, looking for his money and the baseball bat, trying, saying where's probably. So yeah, maybe a little different. But what's cool about that, Chris, is that a lot of people, that's where their mind goes sometimes when we think of private money, or they think of like hard money. They think of like somehow the mafia is involved in these real estate deals, which is kind of interesting, right? Fishy money. Now here's what I like. Christine says win-win. Chris is saying win-win. Lori says high interest. Could be. Juan says just some random dude loaning money. Okay, I think I know where you're going with that, Juan. Right? It's all about people, right? Oh, here's a good one. People looking for passive real estate investments. They don't have the network or know where to start. Yeah, so maybe Marissa and Nick are saying, hey, look, this might be someone, it's a person, right? Jesse says, I think of it more as being personal, flexible financing option compared to traditional bank loans. Jesse, that's a great answer. Was that AI? Did you type that in Chat GPT and that's what it spit out? Because that was a great answer too. So like when I say private money lender, here's what I'm thinking. It's a person. It's JJ, it's Anthony, it's Sean, it's Jesse, it's Shannon, it's Marissa, it's Otha, it's Rick, right? I'm thinking of people. So there's lots of times if you get on the internet and you type in private money lender, what's going to come up is there's going to be a million search results, and many of those results are not necessarily going to be people. It's still going to be some sort of fund, like a hard money fund, but they call it private lending because it's not under the same microscope that a traditional bank is under. They don't have the same boxes to check with their lending criteria because they might not be turning around and selling the loans, right? So we're working with people, not institutions. When I say private lender, I'm talking about a person. I'm talking about a family member or a friend. I'm talking about a fellow Private Money Club community member that you've had conversations with and that you've met in class, whether it be a Zoom call or whether it be at a live event. It's a person. All right. Got it. Say got it. All right. That's what we're talking about here. I love it. I love your answers though. I love your answers. How much is the highest interest you can get? Well, a lot of that might depend on a lot of different things. We have people in Private Money Club that will lend anywhere from, I don't know, I see some crazy numbers. And that brings up a good point. I'm gonna put on my borrower hat here, JJ. When I'm putting on my borrower hat, and this is what I teach my students in the accelerator class. Like a lot of what I pay has to be with how I can serve my lenders. How can I help my lender? And if I'm talking to a family member, a friend, a former coworker, you name it, someone in Private Money Club, and I'm asking them, hey, let me ask you a question. How is your money working for you now? Like, What problems do you have that I can solve? And if someone comes to me and they say, hey, look, my money is, it's in a holding pattern. It's in a savings account. I inherited some money from a family member. I'm trying to be smart. I'm trying to figure out what to do. In my mind right there, that person should be ecstatic. Ecstatic. I'm gonna tell them, hey, we pay anywhere from 8 to 12% annualized interest on a person's money for our fix and flip projects, right? And so that I know right away, I'm like helping them crush their interest goals, because if it's just sitting in the savings, it's not making anything, right? However, if I'm talking to someone who's super savvy, if I'm talking to a Chris Stokes, if I'm talking to a Jen Pertel, if I'm talking to Chris Naugle, here's the deal. Like, I know that they are great with money. I know that I asked Chris, hey, how's your money working for you now? And he's drawing me pictures of like the curves upside down and talking about T-bills and all this crazy stuff that he talks about on the wealth webinars. I know I got to come in a little bit higher, right? So I might say, hey, Chris, we pay anywhere from 12 to 15%. Each loan opportunity is unique, right? Just to kind of get the ball rolling and grab some attention. Otherwise, they're going to be like, I'm good. I can do that. I can do that over here with this or whatever, right? Or I'm lending to someone else and making this, right? But what's cool about this is because it's people, we can have these conversations and we can help. He has great drawings. Yeah, he does have great drawings. He does have great drawings. I don't know any other company that teaches as much as these guys do. Every single week, consistency. It's incredible. So let's do this. What is your goal? Let's see who we're working with here. We got 127 people on the call as of right now. Are you a borrower? Are you a lender? Or are you both? Type it in the chat box. Let's see what's up. Let's see what we got, Jose. This is like, this is like fishing. Like those big those fishing shows where they're out in the Atlantic, or not in the Atlantic. They're out in like Alaska, and they got the crab traps and they pull it up and they're like, oh, let's see, we got, it's cool to see how many lenders and how many borrowers. I never know what's going to be on this call. Borrower, working towards both. Established. Oh, lots of borrowers, Jose. Lots of borrowers. Our lenders are going to be excited about this. Lender, future lender. All right, I love it, Lori. Future lender, learning to lend, Roman. I like it. We need more borrowers in Private Money Club. We absolutely do. If you're not in Private Money Club and you have a goal to raise money to fund real estate deals through private money lending, you need to be a member of Private Money Club. Like, what are we doing? Right, Jose, what are we doing? So this is super cool to see. I love it. Borrower, hope to be a lender one day. Awesome. This is fantastic. I'm learning how it works. That's the first step. What is your goal? You gotta learn how it works, right? Now let's see who's in the club. So Private Money Club, many of you might have just stumbled upon this webinar from a Chris Naugle video, or maybe someone referred you to here. I'm not sure, but a lot of folks in here, let us know where you are now. Are you a member of Private Money Club? Are you a member of PMC? You can be a premium member. Who's a premium member? Let me know. Oh, Jesse's a premium member. Okay, cool. Lots of people love it. Tom says, I'm a founder. All right, the OG member. Okay. So here's what's cool about Private Money Club. This is a platform where everyone is either, in one of three boats, lender, borrower, or both. And it's an amazing platform. Like, I'm kind of jealous because I look at the PMC, especially the new one that it rolled out. Like back 10 years ago, and I was 15 years ago, and we were just getting started. When it came to money and private money, like, I had to have conversations with people that had no clue what private money lending was. I remember talking to friends, family, trying to go to like real estate meetings and go to like Chamber of Commerce meetings in my city and just meet people. And I would practice my elevator pitch. And, lots of times people would be like, okay, that's interesting. But here's the thing. Nobody ever heard of it before. And if no one's ever heard of private money lending, not only are you trying to get people excited about the idea of working with you, you're now having to explain what the heck it is, right? And that can be a little bit more difficult than we want it to be. In Private Money Club, everyone knows. So it's just a matter of making the connections, right? And getting to know people, which is awesome. Is free an option? Here's what's cool. So free has a lot of limitations, but if you are brand new to Private Money Club, every single person on this call right now, all 134 people, should have one or the other. If you're a premium member, you already know. If you're if you are not a free member yet, you can go to Private Money Club. Jose, put the link in there for them. You can go to privatemoneyclub.com, create a free profile, and you're off to the races. All right. Now, there are some limitations with like messaging and some of the things that you can do, some of the courses that you can take. Premium members have access to a borrower course, a lender course. They have access to introductory to contract law course. Free members do not, but you can create a free profile. And then someone like Jose, if not Jose, if you are interested, can give you a tour. They can give you like a little tour around the website to show you how to get the most out of Private Money Club, which is awesome. Jose, are you still doing those VIP tours? Sure. Yeah. Okay. Now, Jose, do you still send a bottle of champagne to the person before the free VIP tour? No, I'm just kidding. But he'll go over it with everyone that's interested in on like a Zoom call or something, and it's a good setup. Yeah, Sean says contract law. Yeah, there's a new course in Private Money Club that a premier member can take. I believe it's called Introductory to Contracts, and you can kind of learn because this is important. Really, really, really important. We'll talk a little bit about some of the things that I provide to my bar lenders here today. Jose said the white gloves. Okay. Jose is going to give you the white glove treatment. I like it. The silk gloves, not the rubber ones, right, Jose? All right. Just the nice, like the polishing, like you're polishing the Stanley Cup. All right. I love it. Colleen says, how do I make an appointment to get the tour? Jose, put the link in there for Colleen, and Colleen, you just click on the link and he'll take great care of you. Right. All right, here we go. All right, so a couple things that we work on every single week: credibility, clarity, confidence in the community, and building the community and the connections. I used to travel all over the country teaching real estate and in a lot of different rooms. And whenever I talked about private money, it always made sense to people. It always made sense. So like, gosh, why wouldn't I go to someone that I know that I can help make interest and we can win-win together? Why wouldn't I do that? But when it came down to like actually taking action, these four things usually got in people's way. Like, and no matter how much of experience a person was, lots of times the credibility piece was a tough one for people to crack. They just felt like because they hadn't done it before, that they lacked credibility in the eyes of the person that they were speaking with. And maybe a lot of this is self-talk, a lot, negative talk you might tell yourself. But I think for the most part, there's definitely a lot of substance behind it. And one of the things that we work on this course here, this webinar that we do, and in my accelerator class that I teach, is building credibility. We spend 2 weeks on this in the accelerator course that I'm teaching. How do I come across as being someone that can borrow someone's funds and fulfill? I can finish the projects and give the money back plus interest. On the flip side of that, for my lenders, let me ask you a question. How many of you are planning on lending, but you haven't yet? Like maybe you have like a money multiplier IBC policy and you're thinking about, you're like, I've been taught to be my own bank, but I haven't taken action on that yet. How many of you are like ready to lend, but you haven't yet, right? Okay, cool. So Lori, Chris, one of the things that Roman, thank you for that, guys. Thank you for raising your hands. One of the things that we gotta work on too as lenders is credibility. So in Private Money Club, anytime I've posted a deal inside Private Money Club that's available for someone to lend on, I usually get multiple people that raise their hand or message me. And the very first thing that I do is I go on their profile, I click their profiles. I see who they are. I see who's actually filled out their profile, who has their picture on their profile, who has more than like one sentence, like me want to lend. I'm never gonna pick that person, right? If I go to a person's profile on Private Money Club and it says, I'm a lender, and that's it, it's like, well, how do I know you're real? How do I know you're not like some weird bot or Prince from Africa who just won the lottery and needs me to send them $500 so that they can cash in on their winnings, right? Sounds like a scam. So when you create your profile, make sure you do a good job of like putting forth who you are, because we got to work on credibility, not just borrowers, but lenders as well, because I have a reputation. And think about this, as real estate investors, if we're working with sellers and the sellers are depending on us to buy their house, to help save them from foreclosure, to help get them money that they need to pay for something, a major life event or whatever the case may be, they're depending on us. So I got to make sure I'm picking a lender that I feel is going to not flake out and is going to follow through, right? It treats this like a business. Okay, so credibility is super important. Clarity, of course, understanding how all of it works. And if we have the first two, the confidence seems to come, right? Here's some things that we got going on. Every single webinar that we do, halfway through, I'll put this slide up. I'll also put it at the end. I'm a big believer in taking action. Like, the last thing that you want to do is spend an hour with us here. And if you're serious about private money and real estate and lending or borrowing, the last thing you want to do is nothing, right? So there's a common theme here, and that's to keep the momentum, keep the ball rolling. So if you're just logging here for the first time, I'm going to ask you to pick one or two things on this list to do or to work on. So if you've never been here before and you're like, gosh, I don't even have a PMC profile, then click the link, schedule a call with Jose and the PMC team member to create your profile and get that thing up and running. If you are in Private Money Club and you haven't taken one of the 3 courses that I just suggested, I think they're complimentary for premium members right now. Take the courses, take the lender course, take the borrower course, take the contract course. All right. If you haven't taken the accelerator class yet, this is a course that I take. It's 4 weeks, twice a week for 4 weeks, where I just collapse the time frames, get everybody up and running. My number one goal is to keep people safe that are in that class, making sure that you have, good questions to ask your borrowers, making sure you have good understanding of how to analyze a deal. Because as a lender, we don't just want to lend money. Like, we got to look at who we're giving it to, the operator, and we got to look at the project itself and say, okay, if I lend here, is the project worth here? What makes private money lending great is that a person can lend this and your money's secured by an asset that's worth this. So, but if you've never done real estate before, how do you have an idea of what something might be worth, or who do you have on your team to make sure that we're not making any of these costly mistakes? In the accelerator course, I know I see a bunch of people in here. If you've taken the accelerator course, just say me in the chat box. I'm curious. I see a bunch of your names, or if you've learned this from me. All right, cool. Ryan, what's up, Ryan? Hey, everybody. All right, cool. I like it. All right. Patrick's in the house. Beju, what's up, man? Brian. Okay, cool. Good to see you guys. Yeah, and they keep on coming in, right? Has it helped you become a better borrower? Has it helped you become a better lender? Let me know. I see Mike Soto says, hey, first time on the webinar. Cool, Mike, you got to go create a profile, man. That's the first step, right? That's the first step if you're on here for the first time, okay? We also have a mobile home boot camp coming up. My wife, I don't know if you can see behind me here, Christy Duckett, she teaches a class on investing in manufactured homes. And the next class starts January 5th. If you're interested in taking that class, Jose can assist you with getting information about that. And then we also have a bus tour down in Atlanta, Georgia, Macon, Georgia area. One day in Atlanta, one day in Macon. That's taught by a couple coaches here at Private Money Club called Mike. Their names are both Mike and Mike. So if you're interested in any of this cool stuff, there's what we got going on. So take action, make it happen. At the very least, this is what we got to do. You got to pull up your phone right now and just say, hey, Siri, can you remind me to be on the Quickstart webinar next Thursday at 1 o'clock, right? And get it on your calendar, right? At least come back here so we can keep building momentum. This, Jose, can you believe it? Yeah, making bacon. This is the 39th time that we've done this. 39th Quickstart webinar that we've had. Isn't that incredible? All right, cool. Thank you, Herbert, for that awesome feedback, man. You're a great student, too. Here's a little bit of information about the class. I'm not going to hover over this for too long, but we do limit it to 20 people. I'm not sure when the next one is. We're in the middle of a class right now. I imagine it would be the first week of January if I was a betting man, right?
Your real estate business lives and dies by the network and the connections that you make. I mean, after all, your network, well, it's your net worth. That's what you always heard, right? If that's an area where you desire improvement, well, Private Money Club, it's for you. PMC saves you precious time and money by bringing the real estate world, well, right to you, right in the palm of your hand. So get in on the action like so many others have by going to privatemoneyclub.com and sign up.
Let's get into some things here. I'm going to go, again, disclaimer. Real estate is hard. There's so many different variables. Private money lending can be absolutely difficult. It's very easy to make mistakes. I can't stress this enough. The last thing I want is for someone to be like, oh, Noah said it was easy. I never said that. You'll never hear those words come out of my mouth. I do think it's fantastic when it's done right. It's not rocket science. But there's a lot of people who come up to me and they're like, hey, Noah, I lent 50 grand. I haven't heard anything. And I'm like, did you do this, this, and this? And they say, no. Okay, did you ask this question, this question, this question, this question? They said, I didn't even think to ask those questions. Well, it's no wonder you're in the predicament that you're in. All right, so this is tough, but we got to educate ourselves. What I thought I would share here, this was a game time decision. 10 minutes before logging on, we have like our routine stuff that we cover, we go over. I thought I'd share with you a slide. This is something that we talked about at the Money Tank event. And at the Money Tank event, we had folks that were presenting deals. We had folks that were presenting themselves as operators, as real estate investors, or as lenders. And one of the things that I've been talking to Stephen Nagy about is, and Stephen's one of he's one of the founders of Private Money Club, the one who asked me to do this. I said, you know what, we really need to elevate the level of professionalism when it comes to presenting deals and presenting opportunities, right? So Mike, this is a great question. I see Mike here. I do have some questions in the chat or in the Q&A, and it is 1:30. So I'm gonna answer these questions. I'm gonna start with Mike's here in the chat box, even though questions should be in the Q&A section, but it's his first time here, guys, so don't get mad at Mike, okay? What information do you need me to provide in order to get the funding? So this is just the start right here, what you're looking at here, Mike. So what I like to see from my students that are taking the accelerator class, and what I like to see from other members in Private Money Club, when you post a deal, it'll have you fill in some queries where, like, how much and all of this stuff, like have you fill in the blanks about the project. But then I really want to see a package put together where I can click on it while I'm looking at your deal, and I can feel really good about the project and about you. And in that package should be some of these items here. Okay, now this is not the end all be all. This is not the end all be all, right? But this is like the attention grabber. Okay, so there are some things, underwriting type of stuff that a person's gonna want. But for my borrowers, here's what we're gonna do for the next 15 minutes. I'm gonna go through these bullet points here. We want to make sure for my borrowers that we're putting together something that's like really puts our best foot forward. And if you do the research, the project's going to be better itself. Like it's just a fact. And if I'm a lender, I hope that I'm setting the bar of what your expectations should be. There should be no verbal, oh, it's this much and we're going to do this and then we're going to do this, and you'd be like, oh yeah, that sounds good. Do I make the check out to you? Like, what's next? That's stupid. We don't do that, right? We want to present a package that has all the details about the project. We can do a fix and flip as an example here. If I was doing a fix and flip, this would be everything that I have in my package. It might be 20 to 30 pages when it's all said and done with all of these things here. And it's not everything, but it should be enough to be able to make an impression on the lender, right? And to show that we got our shit together. Sorry, I don't know what other word to use. We gotta make sure we got our stuff together. Okay. All right. So let's get into some questions. While you're writing this down, I'm gonna answer do some of the Q&A. Okay. I have to stop the share in order to see what the questions are. All right. Well, let me stop the share. Pull up the questions real quick. Let's see. If it's a question that's really specific to like you specifically, then I'll just answer it at the end. If it's a question that is everyone can benefit from, then I'll certainly answer it. So let me just read through these real quick and see what we're doing, what we're working with here. Okay, I like it. So Royal says, hey, I own some property. All my funds are invested in property, stocks, physical gold, and silver for, if the world ends. I have a fully developed, stable financial structure. Awesome. My market is instant positive cash flow available. Okay, so he's in a good rental market. I'm out of equity to buy and hold more property. I am missing out on good deals. Okay, I am waiting 2 years to increase the equity of the rents to get more equity to buy property. I wonder if there's a participating debt or passive partner interested in providing 100% money, and I find my team manages both buy and hold. I'm thinking 2 to 5 years, 50%. So Royal, what it comes down to, my friend, deals are passing you by. You need to stop using your own cash and start building relationships with private investors, private lenders, right? That simple as that. And then as your if you're getting good deals on properties, you're buying at a discount, you're increasing the values by fixing them up, getting the rents up, things like this. Then you need to find a good 30-year mortgage company. I use a company called Vizio for my super long-term 30-year mortgages. So you can use private funding to get the deals, so you're not missing out on the deals, make the repairs if necessary, and then go in and just refinance with long-term debt at low interest rates. And if interest rates go down, you refinance. If they go up, cool, you just found a way to hedge inflation and to short the US dollar. Okay, so you're good. You just need more lenders. That's easy, right? That's easy. Just need more lenders. All right, cool. So let's go back to the slides. That's a great question. Yeah, you just need more money, man. Stop using your own cash. Keep it in reserves. Use your own money to buy more passive income stuff. But if you feel like you're in acquisition mode, you want to buy more and keep more, get in Private Money Club, connect with Jose, get a membership. What's cool about this, and we're talking about presenting deals, folks. So like this, we're going to go over like the package of like what's in the deal here. But what's cool about Private Money Club is on Mondays, we do Money Club Monday, where if you are a premier member, you can present to the community, which is fantastic. There's always, I don't want to give a number because it always varies, but there's a ton of people on. And not only is there folks on live, but it's also recorded and gets sent out saying, hey, there was a new Money Club Monday, go check it out, so on and so forth. There's also Wealth Wednesdays that Chris Naugle hosts, so you can post opportunities on there, right? And so not only are you posting deals in the community, but they also give you a platform where you can present opportunities, whatever you got going on in a Zoom setting, in a webinar setting with people that you would never, ever would have ran into otherwise, right? Which is all part of the Private Money Club, which is super cool. All right, so here's what we're putting in these packages. Okay, number one, a cover page. So we gotta make this look good, right? Like if you, in my opinion, the cover page kind of separates it from a real professional look to amateur look. And if someone can't take 10 minutes to put together a cover page or hire someone to go do that for them, then it's not worth your time, right? How a person puts together this package is really going to help dictate. It's going to be a little bit of a foreshadowing situation with how the project's going to go, in my opinion, right? If someone presents you an opportunity and they don't have a lot of details, well, that's probably how the communication is going to go after you lend them the money. If someone presents you a deal and they don't have repair estimates or scopes of work showing you exactly where your money is being spent in regards to repairs, they're probably going to be over budget. The project's going to take too long, longer than they're telling you it's going to take. It's going to be a nightmare. It's foreshadowing what's eventually going to happen. So the better this is put together, not only does it help the lenders really get a good idea of who they're working with and making sure you have everything figured out, but as the borrower, it also forces you to do more planning, forces you to get it right, and not be lazy. So we got to have a cover page. Inside Private Money Club, there is something called the Perfect Loan Proposal. It's 8 to 12 pages. It's a template, and members in Private Money Club can go in, download the Perfect Loan Proposal, and they can swap out what's there with their information. So it's a very simple but effective way of saying like who you are as a real estate investor. Very effective way of talking about what your business model is, what your buying criteria is, all the details about your business, how you protect your lenders. There's a lot that goes into this, but think of this as a really beautiful about you section. About you, about your company, and how you protect your lenders. What extents do you go through? How do you communicate with the projects, right? This is one of the things I help you with in Accelerator. So if you're thinking about, gosh, I need some help with this, sign up for the Accelerator class. That's what we do. We spend a lot of time on this. I help you with this, right? This is a big part of it. Executive summary. So after the section, the Perfect Loan Proposal, which is about you, your current state, your finances, things like this, I'm going to have what I call the executive summary, which is an outline of the deal itself. So it's a summary. What's my exit strategy? Why did I buy here? What's the neighborhood like? Why we picked this house? What we love about it? What maybe a little SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, right? Threats, what could go wrong? We're going to talk about this in the executive summary. Okay, so this is all part of the package. So if you post a deal on Private Money Club, make sure you get this all put together so someone can just click on it, or they can message you and say, hey, I'm interested. You can say, fantastic. Let me send you over my deal package, and if you have any questions about this, let me know. Let's set up a time to talk. Comparable sales. So comparable sales, and this is not something that is done by us, the borrowers. Comparable sales should be given to us from real estate agents, from licensed real estate agents, people who know the markets, people who know what they're doing. I'm going to put together the absolute best comparable sales package. I'm going to ask my real estate agent to send me over all the pictures, the details, all the data that justifies the price of the home after I fix it up and justifies the price in its current condition. So if I'm a lender, I want to know, hey, what's the value of this property right now? Even though the carpet's green, the appliances are pink, the toilet's yellow, it smells like cat pee, what's the current as-is value? I want to make sure that the current as-is value is here, that I still have a little bit of equity there. I want to make sure that the person who's borrowing my money is getting a good deal, right? And then I want to make sure that if they say, hey, after this is all fixed up, it's going to be worth $500,000, I'm going to say, okay, great, prove it. Show me houses in the same neighborhood that sold for $500,000 that are the same square footage and have the same upgrades, right? So comparable sales is super important. This should not be something that is screenshots that someone took off of Zillow from a house that sold a year ago that's 3 miles away. I've seen that, by the way. I know who you are. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no Zillow crap, no screenshots. Get a real estate agent to do this. And if you don't have a real estate agent that can do this for you, you are not ready to borrow money. You're not ready. If I'm a lender and I call you up and you have a deal and you're like, yeah, we have a property we're looking at, I'm saying, okay, great. Who's your real estate agent? And if you don't know someone, you're not ready to borrow the money because you're going to sell it, right? You're going to sell that house, aren't you? You're going to put it on the MLS, right? Yeah. So how do you not have a real estate agent yet? I want all the work done in advance. Okay. Same thing with the contractors. So if you're putting together a package and there's work that needs to be done on the property, and by the way, every single house needs work done. I don't care if it doesn't need any work done, you're still probably cleaning it before you put a tenant in it, aren't you? You're doing something, right? You're doing something. So list it, show it, document it. I want to see line items, right? Repair estimates, scopes of work. I want to see where the money's going. And you got to think about your team. The very first thing I teach in Accelerator class is how to build a team, a successful team. Who's your contractor? If you're borrowing money, you got to figure out who your contractor is. One of the biggest things I've seen really screw people up is people are so eager to buy the houses and borrow the money that they don't hire a contractor. They aren't prepared. They don't have scopes of work prepared. The day that they buy the property, now they're looking for their people. And good contractors are not available to start the next day. Good contractors are booked weeks in advance, sometimes months in advance. Okay, so the moment you know you're buying that property, you got to have that contractor lined up and start working on those scopes of work. Otherwise, the property is going to sit. It's going to create headaches, right? Photos. We got to have photos. And the types of photos that I want to see, yes, the normal front, back, exterior, interior, bedrooms, all that stuff. But I also like to see photos of like what's going on under the sinks. I want to see a photo of the hot water heater. I want to see a photo of the air conditioner. I want to see a photo of the mechanics of the house, right? I want to see photos under the house. If you're in a crawl space, like here in South Carolina, we have a lot of crawl spaces. And the biggest problem with crawl spaces is the termites, moisture, things like this. So I want pictures in there of what's going on so we can get an idea, okay? So you're going to provide that. And then also the next up is the property tax card. So you can go to your county website, pull up the property, right? And create a PDF file of that information. You'll see the tax map. You'll see who the owners are, who the past owners are, right? And I'm going to put that into my presentation. I want to show my lender who the owner is, the current owner. I want to show them the property lines and things like this, right? I want to show them because as lenders, you should be looking at that. Right? You should be checking that out. Like, hey, I want to make sure everything adds up here. The address, the property actually exists. Hello, right? So we do that through the tax records. So I'm going to make it really easy and simple for the people to go ahead and look at this stuff. I'm also going to provide the purchase contract. So again, as lenders, you should be asking for this. Hey, I want to see the contract. We want to make sure that the person we're lending to is the person that's on the contract. Right? So that we got to figure this out, right? We want to make sure like these are really important things that they just get overlooked. At the Money Tank event, I showed this slide and I said, hey, how many of you have done a deal, but you didn't do all of these things? And I think every single hand went up. And it's like, ugh, like, okay, like, it's a good thing we got a good community here, but like at the same time, we got to buckle up, right? As this thing grows, we got to make sure that you're lending and borrowing and you have some systems in place to help you, right? Dennis said, what long-term company did you say? I like to use a company called Visio for my rental properties. Visio Financial, Visio. They're really good with rental properties. Dennis, so there's your answer, Visio. Is this going to be recorded? It is recorded. I don't know it's on YouTube somewhere. Accelerator program, couple $1,000. It just depends if you're a member or not. Gilbert, Jose can assist you or help you with that. I recommend Gilbert, that you click on the link there and have Jose schedule some time with you to go over what's all included in that. And I tell you what, man, it's been worth it to build these relationships. I shared a slide at the Money Tank event last weekend. And I'm gonna mess up the numbers, but bear with me. These aren't exact numbers, but just this year, and I'm not a big company. My wife and I, we have no desire to work really, really, really hard. We have no desire to grow our business. Like for us, I think we're on track for like 15 deals, 15 fix and flip type of opportunities this year. We got a closing tomorrow. So we're kind of small, right? But in the last year, I think it was like, we've borrowed right around, I don't remember the number. I think it was like 3 point something million to fund our deals. And that 3 point something million has allowed us to acquire 4 point something million dollars in real estate. So $1 million spread. So when it comes to things like Private Money Club and people are like, is it worth it to do Private Money Club? Oh, it's $1,000 or whatever. I don't know how much. Yes, because if I didn't have my Private Money Club relationships, I don't know if I'd have those deals. I really don't. And when you look at the difference between the cost of using hard money versus private money, now everything's different, but I'll give you an example. I use a company here in Colombia, or I don't use them, but a lot of other investors do. And it seems like the going rate is 13% interest and 3 origination points. So it's 3% just to play the game in fees on top of other fees, and 13% interest. So not even talking about the interest rates, because I usually pay anywhere from 10 to 12. So I save on the interest rates, but on the points, I don't pay points to my lenders because they're fine with it. They're happy. They feel safe. I have a reputation, right? Like track record. So I don't pay points. If I used hard money, I would have to pay the 3%. And based off of all the deals that we've done so far, it's over $60,000. I think that's what it was, 60,000, something like that, in points that I've saved by using private money over using hard money lenders. So if you're on this call right now and you're like, I want to do real estate, I'm looking at using a hard money lender, or I'm currently using hard money lenders, you got to up your private money. You got to up your relationships. Now keep using the hard money, right? Because you don't want to miss out on deals. But as you're using hard money, you're also looking for private money lenders. And then at some point, you stop looking at hard money and you're just focusing on, you've got enough resources and enough connections built up where you're just focusing on the private money, right? That's what I did, okay? All right, exit strategy letter. So I have a letter template that I'm recommending my students use that acknowledges the exit strategy that is like what you talked about, what's happening with the project. It's a fix and flip. It's an investment property. It's a rental property, right? And you kind of have, there's some boxes that you check. So the borrower is acknowledging and signing off that this is their plans and it's not a personal property. They're not moving into it or anything like that. It's an investment property for business purposes, right? That's what the loan is for. And this is really, really important to have them signed. I don't have enough time to get into why that is here today. But we definitely don't want to be lending to people. We want to be lending to LLCs and things like this, and we want to be lending to or on investment properties, right? So we're going to have them acknowledge that with that template. I'm also going to list my title company and my attorney or my attorney information. So some states are different. Some states are title companies. Some states we do closings here in South Carolina with real estate attorneys. So I'll have their information there. And I encourage my lenders to pick up the phone and contact the attorney to verify everything. Hey, have you ever heard of Noah Harris? Oh yeah, we've done a lot of business with him. Okay, have you ever heard of private money lending? Yep, we do this every day. I know that's how he funds a lot of his deals. Okay, great. And you've heard of the mortgage and you can help me if I need any help. Yeah, we can do that, absolutely. And then you record my note after the closing. Yep, I'm looking at this property, 123 Oak Street here. Looks like a good deal. Noah says that it's in escrow right now and it's a due diligence period. Do you have a file for this property? Yep, we absolutely do. It has clear title. We're just waiting to close. Okay, great. Right, so I'm encouraging the lenders to pick up the phone and verify this information, but I'm going to provide you with the attorney's info. Okay, and then the big one here, starting to add this used to be kind of like a second level, but I think you should be providing it right away now, is the experience spreadsheet. So you should have some sort of spreadsheet or list of all the properties that you've done. Now, maybe you haven't done any. That's okay. You're brand new. But if you are experienced, you've got a handful of deals or 100 deals, you should have some sort of spreadsheet that keeps track of all your properties. If you have rental properties, list your active properties. If you have fix and flips you're currently doing, list them. If you have ones that you've done in the past, we want them listed down here at the bottom. And I think this can help a lot of people not get in trouble. So if you're a lender on the call, listen up. I would ask for an experience worksheet, because lots of times if you're talking to someone, they might be like, oh yeah, we're doing this. We're movers and shakers. We've got, we've done 100 deals and we've got 15 projects going on right now. To someone that doesn't know any better, that's going to sound awesome. They'd be like, wow, that's really impressive. But to someone who's been around the block a little while, that sounds really stressful. That sounds like a headache. That sounds like a lot of buckets, a lot of egg, a lot of juggling, right? Send me oh, that's fantastic. Here's what I want to know. I want you to send me the addresses. And then what I'm going to do as a lender is I'm going to go and I'm going to look. I'm going to see, okay, when, these projects that you're currently working on, when did you buy them, right? Has it been longer than a year that you've owned them and it's a fix and flip? Is it a fix and flip and you've owned it for 18 months? That's strange, right? And this helps people avoid the rob Peter to pay Paul type of situation, right? As a lender, you don't want to lend, and as a borrower, you certainly don't want to find yourself in that situation, if that makes sense. Okay, so these are all things that we need to see on here. All right, just to start, and then we have some other things that we teach in Accelerator. I just don't have time today because it is 1:52, but hopefully you can log on next week and click the link with Jose and schedule a time, and hopefully educate yourself outside of just the Quick Start webinar, because there is a lot to learn. I try to give as much as I can in here. This is the 40th episode that we've done, and try to share a little bit each time. But if you're someone that doesn't have time to go back and watch 40 YouTube videos, just take the class. Take the class, get my number, and get some help and support if that's what you want, right? And Jose can help you with that. I saw a question here, so I'm going to see. Everyone's got the full summary. I'm so curious if I clicked on these full summaries, what it would say. Like, what would AI take away as the biggest takeaway from this meeting? Don't do it. Warning, risky. I don't know what AI would take away. Talk to Jose and don't do it. Who knows? Maybe I'll click on one of these one day. All right, I did see a question here. Do you have lenders doing only the rehab portions in a second position? Yeah. Or second lien slots if it still has a good LTV or cash flow. Yeah, Jesse, you hit the nail on the head, man. Absolutely. So if lots of times when I talk to people, I'll let them know, like, you got to figure out what your business model is and what your niche is. So like lots of times if I'm explaining how my business works, Jesse, what I'll say is I have 3 different lending opportunities. And, for most people, what they like to do is they like to put as much money to work as possible. So they want to fund the entire amount. Let's just say in my situation, it's $150,000. So their $150,000 would be secured by a piece of real estate worth $250,000. That's what my goal is, right? As a real estate investor, that's my bread and butter. We've got a house on the lake right now. It's like 800 some thousand, but for the most part, most of our deals are in that $250,000 price range. So option 1, they want to put as much to work as possible. Why wouldn't they, right? If they can do it, most people go that route. The second option, some people have, maybe this is because this is all they have. This is what they're comfortable with. This is where they want to start. I don't know. Some people like to come in right around the purchase price. So they're comfortable lending $100,000. And then I have a third type of lender, for whatever reason, they're comfortable lending the $50,000 for the repairs. And oftentimes that means it's going to be a second position lien, right? So then I'll ask people, Mr. and Mrs. Lender, which one do you want? Where do you see yourself starting? And so if someone just has the 50, I still want to cultivate a relationship with them. I still want to be able to help them. It just might not be as frequent as someone who has more. right? Some of my best lenders, private lenders here today are people that started out with the 20, 30, 40, $50,000 and below prices, and we just kept working together over the last 10 years. And now they're up to the 100,000. I mean, there's one person that started with 50,000 with me. And I'm not saying I made her all of this money, but she's been very consistent working with us over the last 12 years and 11 or 12 years. And she started with 50, and right now she's funding 525,000. Right? So I never say no to money. I want to make sure if there is an opportunity where I can put someone's money to work at 50 or less, I'm going to pick up the phone and they're going to be happy that we called, right? So you never want to say no. You can build those relationships. We do deals like that all the time. But something interesting, I know it's industry standard where if it's second position, it's a little riskier, right? That's what people say, riskier. Well, in my mind, I actually pay more to my first positions than I do my second positions because I reward the people that put as much money to work as possible. If I'm talking to someone and they're like, well, I'll do the second position, but I know they could probably do the first, I'll be like, all right, second position's 10%. And they're like, wait a minute, I thought that it's riskier in second. Well, yeah, but at the same time, you know, I'm rewarding the people that are putting more in. So I do things kind of backwards in some cases, but what's cool about it is you can do it however you want to do it, right? Does this work in Canada? I don't see why it wouldn't, but I don't invest in Canada. True gap for cash to close is hard, but as long as you have a good deal, it's possible. Yep. Is this right? 13% interest in 3 points. That's approximately 16% just to borrow money. That's not including other fees. So for me, the borrower, 50,000, it's going to cost me. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy, Rick? That's nuts, right? So that's why, I mean, telling you, hard money lending it absolutely kills people sometimes. When I first got started investing in real estate, I was using hard money, man, there were some sleepless nights because you are paying a boatload of money. That's why when I see people posting and borrowers, this is a lesson. Experienced lenders, if you are advertising on Private Money Club, you'll pay 18%, you'll pay 20%. There was this guy that got up at Money Tank and he was like, I'm going to pay you 3 times. He was like, I don't know, it didn't make sense. It was like 36% interest. That's bullshit. And maybe it isn't to you. Like maybe if you're presenting a deal and you're like, I pay 25% interest, you're crazy. That's bad business. Are you like Mother Teresa? So you just want to like give your money away? That's what people are thinking. People are not thinking, oh, what a nice guy, I should do this deal because it's 18-20% interest. People are thinking either A, that person doesn't know what they're doing, or B, it's a scam. They're going to rip them off and they're just trying to get people to do the deal, right? So industry standard, like I pay 8 to 12% interest, like clockwork, 100% track record. So just keep this in mind when you are advertising that you're willing to pay 15% or more. I don't think you have to. If you have a good deal and you have good communication skills, and there's plenty of people that would be really happy to make 14% or 12%, right? You don't have to do it. Right? So stop. Get better. Get some education. Let me help you. Okay. Let me help you out. Because yeah, if you're just, I mean, think about it, man. And a lot of my friends, I got a lot of friends in California, they're flipping in like Oakland and they're using hard money. Oh my God, what a nightmare, because who knows how long it might take to get a permit. You know, I saw something where like transformers weren't working in Oakland, California. So it was delaying like all the construction. And like, imagine just getting hit with, you know, borrowing 800,000 at 13-14%. There goes your profits, right? So you got to build up that private money lender network and do deals that make sense. Hello, right? Cool. Jose, how do I contact you? Jose, Mike's got I know Jose has to sign off right at 2:00. So once Jose posts the link of how to get a hold of him, I'm going to sign off as well. So, and then here's some of the resources. Here's some of the things that we do in the accelerator class. Jose can cover these things for you. Yep, there we go. All right, cool. So, all right, guys, good. Was this a good session? I don't have time to do the elevator pitch, but man, I'm going to show this slide because every single time we're borrowing and lending, we got to make sure we're doing these things here. For all my lenders, I provide them with a promissory note. I provide them with a mortgage or deed of trust, depending on the state that I'm in. I always give them a personal guarantee because even though they're lending to my LLC, I am personally guaranteeing this loan. And then I always make sure that I add them to my